Nuts. Bam, we're live. I can't believe it. 600 shows. It was bound to happen. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. So sorry, Kevin.
No sweat, man.
I was trying to change the schedule for the show so that I could go skateboarding with the kids this morning. And then I was so excited that you were able to change it, start an hour early, which I appreciate. And then I never changed my alarm. I got so excited I forgot to. Like I was so excited you say yes to go to the prom with me. Then by the end of the night, I forgot to kiss you. Still celebrating that you said yes.
Yeah, it's no problem for me. I'm out in South Carolina, so it's not that early here.
Oh, where are you? You're not in jail, are you? You're a free man?
Yeah, free man. Yeah.
Okay, you're not trapped in a coal mine. Where are you? What is that?
I'm in my basement gym. I don't know if you see it, but it's my basement gym.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And I'm from California. What's a basement?
What's a basement? Yeah, it's just an underground area. This is actually where I started CrossFit when I I just kind of started CrossFit on my own. It's been 11 years now, and we didn't have an affiliate. The closest one was about 45 minutes away. So I started. I just found it and had old steel plates, with there were not Olympic barbells and all that kind of stuff, and started down here. So it's slowly grown over time, but I don't use it that much anymore because we've got an affiliate here that I coach at and that kind of thing. But I figured this would be a good spot to do it.
Hey, yeah, it is an awesome spot. You guys, Kevin really screwed up my narrative. That's why I brought him on. You guys are gonna love this. He had his ticker started acting funny, but we can't blame the vaccine. Darn it.
No.
Darn it. How old are you?
I am 46, be 47 in November. So
looking good, buddy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Try to stay in shape and stay young as much as I can.
Did you do something before before CrossFit to stay healthy? Did you have some sort of physical regimen?
Not really. I mean, I lifted weights. I didn't know what I was doing. Once I got married, I figured I needed to get in shape. I've always been like a really skinny guy. I'm a pretty small guy still, but I was like 120 pounds soaking wet all the way through high school and college. And finally we got married and we didn't have any kids and just got a job, in the real world. And I figured I need to do something, so I got some, the old Gold's Gym bench and plates. And I think I benched 3 times a week and, the old, what everybody does. And then kind of looking for something that would be more interesting. That regimen is pretty boring, the backs and buys and shoulders and tries or however it goes. And so, I found CrossFit. I think it was on February 1st. It was just a random date. I can't remember the year, but I think it's about 11 years ago. So maybe 2011, maybe. And just started trying it with the barbells I had, and figuring it out. And then, like I said, slowly built a basement gym, which I'm in. And then, so that's kind of not much before that. I played basketball in high school and stuff.
How tall are you?
College, 5'9".
Yeah, 120. That's lean and mean.
Yeah. I was pretty. I was just scrawny. I mean, it wasn't really lean and mean. It was just scrawny.
How do you get? One time I dropped to in college. I dropped to 135. I was on a pretty hardcore regiment of MDMA just every day for like 45 days of MDMA. And I dropped to 135.
Yeah.
I just did. What do you eat to stay at 120 and 5'9"?
Well, I mean, I was in college. It was mainly like a little bit of pizza and a lot of beer, probably. Like it wasn't, it is, and ramen noodles and stuff like that. So
you weren't doing meth or coke, or you weren't like on a regimen of MDMA,
No, it was just probably too much drinking and too much alcohol and whatever we could get our hands on for food. But yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And so then you basically started doing the fun workouts that we all, back in the day started doing. And how much weight did you put on doing that?
Probably, and I started eating better along with it, those kind of things too, hand in hand. But I was probably in the 155, about 160, between 165 and 170 now, give or take. So
wow.
Probably once I started and really got into it after a year or so, I was probably up to 150, 155. But still, I mean, my metabolism helps, so I stay pretty lean, and that helps. I don't put on, so I can eat even now. I can still eat almost anything I want and a good bit of it, and stay pretty lean.
Yeah. So you're basically 30 to 40 pounds heavier than you were in college, and you're still lean.
Yep. That's true. Yeah.
Dude, Hiller would for sure know this guy's juicing. For sure.
Let's see the progress pics.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And how did CrossFit in 2011? How did CrossFit climb into your brain? Do you remember where you saw it? Were you watching TV or?
I think I did see it on TV or a Men's Health or something, goofy like that. And then I mean, really, like, I'm kind of the classic stereotypical tale. I found the main site, started doing workouts off of that, and I had very limited equipment, and so there'd become a workout. I don't have that, I need to get one, and I don't have that. I need to get one, or I need to make shift or modify and that kind of thing. And so it just kind of, I mean, because it was interesting, it was something different every day, and it was something I could do in pretty easily in an hour. And especially before our affiliate opened, I did CrossFit a lot at lunch. I worked 6 miles from here, so I'd come home and I could change quick, like knock out with warm up and cool down and everything, a 40-minute CrossFit workout, and then grab food and eat on my way back, and so I did that pretty much every day, down here in my basement. But I don't remember exactly how I found it. People have asked me that before, and I think it was just really like the internet or a magazine or something.
Do you have kids now?
I do. I have a son that's 18. He's about to head off to the Navy. He's got a Navy SEAL contract, so he's headed off. He ships out in May.
I got some good news for your son. Good news.
And then I've got a daughter, and he was a wrestler. He does CrossFit with me. He's a wrestler. And then I've got a daughter who's 15, who's hoping to be a level 10 gymnast this next season. So
wow.
Yeah. So pretty good athletic kids. Yeah.
So is that 3 kids total?
2.
Two. Okay. 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at this. I saw this last night. U.S. Navy quietly cancels vaccine requirement order for SEALs.
That's great. That'd be good.
They all decided they're not going to take it, and you can't make us.
Yeah. We've actually been talking about it. We went and saw our family physician and said, hey, what do we need to do? They're going to give him the shot. Should we go ahead and get the Johnson & Johnson shot just to so he wouldn't have to get the other ones? Because, I mean, he's in that prime myocarditis. I mean, he's 150 pounds. I mean, with shoulders this wide and a waist this big. And, I mean, he's swimming, 5-6 miles a week. He's running 30 miles a week. And I mean, I'm like, he's the prime, young male myocarditis candidate. And I'm like, I don't want to, are they going to give him these jabs? Should we get something else beforehand to try to?
And what did they say? That seems like some smart thinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she said the same thing. Try to do as much research as you can. If the Navy won't give him the shot, and we've heard some at boot camp that'll say, hey, I'm good, I don't need it. And they just pass them by, whether that's true or not. But, so we just kind of said, hey, we'll get him the Johnson & Johnson before he goes. And then he'll have his legit vaccine card, and hopefully, that covers him. But that's kind of what our doctor said too.
Were you in the military?
I was not. No, I wish I would have been, but that was kind of not. That was before September 11th when I got out of high school, college, and stuff like that. So, or while I was in college. So, it just, I don't know. It's just military seemed like it was different then. So anyway, no.
Why? What do you know? What swayed his opinion for that? And did that scare you? Did you try talking him out of it, or did you try talking him into it, or?
He's wanted to do that since I can remember. I know he wrote a paper about what you know how you're in middle school, you got to write a paper, what you're going to do, what your career going to be like. And he wrote a paper about being a Navy SEAL, and he just never grew out of it. I kind of thought he would. He made straight A's all the way through high school. On the dean's list, could have gone to not any college, but he could have gone to, Clemson or a pretty good college around here. And he just said, I don't want to do that. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I want to do in my career. He thought through it really. And we even talked to him, his mom really wanted him to go to college first. And she talked through it about, what about if you go to college first and then go in as an officer? But, through his own research, he said, if I go in as an officer, there's not as many jobs and only get one shot at it. If I go in as enlisted, I can go straight in. I get 3 chances. If I get hurt, he thought it all through. And he said, and what do you go to college for? To get a job? And he said, I'll have the job I want, if I make it. And I'll always have a job, if he makes it through, and obviously he hadn't done the hard part yet, but, so that was him, and it's kind of hard to argue that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. As you were talking, I was like, I wonder how I would take that if one of my kids wanted to go into the military.
Yeah.
I hope I would.
I'm really proud of him. I mean, it's as it gets closer to shipping off, it's nerve wracking, but, and I mean, it's going to be tough because we probably, here in South Carolina. We'll obviously travel to where we can to see him, but he's going to be gone for over a year. You know, once he goes to boot camp, straight into pre-buds, straight into buds. So, you know, it's pretty tough. It's not like sending a kid to college where they come home on the weekends. You know,
does he live? He lives at home now.
Yeah, he does.
So it'll be go from having him every day, being able to hold and kiss your son, to bye-bye.
That's right. Yep. To see,
good.
Yeah, grow up. He'll be, you know, and I know we've talked to a lot of people, military families, and they said he'll come home and you won't hardly recognize him. He'll go from, you know, a boy to a man overnight, and it'll just be different. So that's all right. I mean, that's what you raise them for, is to, you know, put well-balanced kids and then send them off into the world. So we're sending them.
Are your parents alive?
They are. Yep.
Did they say, what do they say about it?
They're proud of him. I know they're nervous, and, you know, but I mean, how can you not be proud of somebody that, I mean, you know, this is going to sound bad, but a lot of kids go to the military because they don't have any other options, or it's like stay out of jail, you know, and this was his decision. This is what he wants to do. And I said, hey, as you know, I love our country, and, you know, as screwed up as it seems like it is now, but, we need people that want to do that.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I was going to say. We need people like him. Yeah.
Caleb and I have a mutual friend who's in the military who basically would do anything to get out.
Really?
Yeah, you know, because and it's exactly that. He went in there because he had nothing else.
Yeah.
And now he has something else, and he doesn't want in.
And he wants out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not hating on the guy at all for that, by the way. It's a sticky situation.
Sure.
It's the same thing. It's kind of like, I could see being 18 and being completely gung ho, right? And then by the time you're 25, you're ready to do something else. It's the same thing with opening an affiliate. I totally see that as something you want to do for 10 years. I could see wanting to open one at 19.
Yeah.
And then at 28 being like, hey, I want to do something else. I've mastered this. The weird part about an affiliate, I'm really off subject here, but the weird part about opening an affiliate and having that shift is you need older affiliate owners to really probably, this is a sweeping generalization, but to understand the true power of CrossFit. You need someone, probably a 40-year-old gym owner, who is like, hey, I can make someone who can get in past buds with flying colors, and I can also save some 70-year-old man's life. You kind of need older owners, I'm guessing, and I want to be proven wrong, to kind of appreciate that, right? Like, even at 34, when I found CrossFit, I could give two fucks if it helped cure you of diabetes. Like, so, you know, like,
and our gym's 8 years old, CrossFit Greenwood, and the owner, I've coached with him. He actually he's from Clinton, about 45 minutes away, and he found me and said, hey, I want to open a gym in Greenwood. Would you coach with me? First, do you think it'll work? And second, will you coach with me? And I said, I think it'll work. The first one that gets here, it's going to work, you know? And so we kind of set it up and went that way. And I've been with him ever since. And you know, he was a competitor, but he's 5 years younger than me. So he's like 42 now. But, you know, when we started it, I guess that makes him 34. You know, and it was all competition and kind of elite athletes. But I mean, we've got a over 55 class now. We've got teens, we've got kids, we've got, you name it. And it's more rewarding, I think.
I would go into that over 55 class and just fuck people up.
It's funny because a lot of them will do that class. And then, you know, after a few months, they're transitioning into the regular classes. They want the more intensity and a little bit more. So it's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, and I think it takes, like you said, gym ownership takes some evolution. You come in there with, you know, breathing fire, and then you realize, you know what, it's not all about competition. I can really change some people's lives, you know, like, yeah. So it's
Greg started this class at HQ in the big gym we had there. In the mornings, he basically shut down the gym, and he brought in some L1 trainers, and he started this program. I think Souza had actually asked if he could coach there a little bit.
I tried, participate.
And it was just for old people and fat people. And it was funny because Greg called it the underserved. And I'm like, hey, I think the minorities got that. I think that's like for poor Armenian kids. He's like, no, underserved is fat and old. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I ain't like.
Just have some pretty strict guidelines. Like,
that's the thing, dude. My mom went to that class at like 75. And my mom had already been doing CrossFit for 8 years, and she was just fucking people up. Like at 75, she was the fucking, you know, there were 20 people in there. My mom was the fire breather. It wasn't cool.
Yeah.
But Greg said she could go there. So my mom at 5 feet tall, 94 pounds soaking wet, was the fire breather in there. She said, I'll do some burpees. And the other people are just leaning against the wall and pushing themselves up for burpees. Literally. You know what I mean? It was,
taking souls.
These are people who couldn't hang off a bar, and my mom's like,
Yeah.
What?
She's doing strict pull-ups
Yeah.
or something. Yeah,
I hang here all day.
Yeah.
Like these are, these are the people who didn't want to get out of their car. So, but incredible class. Kudos to your gym for having it over 55. I think that speaks great. A successful class like that speaks volumes about the trainer.
Yeah, and they are that group is so dedicated. I mean, there's 10 to 12 of them in there every week, and it's the same ones. And if somebody skips, they're on them. I mean, it's hard. It's pretty hardcore. Yeah, so it's good. Yeah.
Another thing too is my mom was a workaholic her whole life. She was a high-powered attorney, just grinding. You know what I mean? A 40-hour week was that was Monday, and and she worked and worked and worked, and she was never a social person. She never had friends. I don't ever remember having any friends growing up or anything like that. And for her to join a CrossFit gym at 69, I think. Yeah, she's probably come up on her 10 years. That was huge for her. The first 2 years gave her crazy anxiety. She didn't want any friends. She didn't want anyone talking to her. You know what I mean? The only people she talked to, she stood in a courtroom and whooped ass.
Yeah.
And now that's her social circle. Those are her homeboys. Like she'll be like, oh, so-and-so from my affiliate was out of town and she's visiting for a couple of days. And I'm not going to talk to you for 2 days because I'm going to be with her. I'm like, what? Like, you don't have friends.
Cool. That's the way it is for all of us, right? I mean, for the most part, you get in a gym and you get in that community, whether you're 20 or you're 70, and that becomes your people.
Did you ever have any health issues at any time in your life?
Nope. I've been, I've got a little bit of a thyroid issue that I found when I was in college, and I know a lot of people, I've got a thyroid issue, but I really do have a thyroid issue. And
that's right where I went to. I was like, sure you.
Yeah,
do.
Sure, yeah, right. Everybody's got a thyroid issue. No one.
What is the thyroid? Do you need that thing? Isn't that like where you're something with your immune system, or if your thyroid's fucked up, you weigh 600 pounds or something?
Yeah, you can, or it can be really fast. So mine is slow, believe it or not. But I don't know, it just regulates. I just know if I have when I'm feeling shitty, it's because my thyroid's off, and it like really zaps all my energy and whatnot. But
it's testicles in your throat. Your thyroid is a small butterfly shaped. Your thyroid is a small testicle shaped gland situated at the base of the front of your neck, just below your anus. Your Adam's apple.
Yeah.
Hormones produced by the thyroid gland, T3 and T4, have an enormous impact on your health, affecting all aspects of your metabolism. Okay, so somehow.
Yeah, so it's probably too much information, but I have Hashimoto's disease, which is basically is an autoimmune disease. It's meaning my body like rejected my thyroid and tried to attack it and get rid of it. Thought it was like a foreign body. So that's kind of why my Adam's apple is really big, and it's kind of.
Kevin, you can't have testicles in your throat and then your fucking immune system attacked it.
Yeah, hey, pretty much. That's it.
Hashimoto's disease, autoimmune disorder. The immune system creates antibodies that attack thyroid cells as if they were bacteria, viruses, or some other foreign body. The immune system wrongly enlists disease-fighting agents that damage cells and lead to cell death. What do you think about these people on? I used to follow this chick. She was kind of a wackadoodle, but she had this insane body.
Courtney Hunt.
No. Courtney Hunt it has a nice body. This chick was a yoga teacher from LA, but she claimed her whole thing was she claimed she and how dare you, Caleb, call Courtney Hunt a wackadoodle? She's just big picture thinking, buddy. She's big picture. Come on, quantum.
Just gotta get on her level. That's all.
Yeah, dude. Just because she uses the word quantum a lot doesn't mean she's wackadoodle. This chick says you could cure Hashimoto's by. This chick says you could cure Hashimoto's with I think the carnivore diet. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that, but I mean, I don't know. Mine, when I promise you, when I don't take my medicine, it drops like really low. My thyroid level does, and I feel like crap. So I don't know. Maybe that's possible, but I mean, it's a autoimmune disease, so my body's attacked it, so it doesn't really function anymore.
I bet you
I don't know.
I bet you my wife knows that that lady's name. What's the yoga teacher's name I used to follow? Huge icon, huge tits. Owned the studio in LA. I want this is totally off subject, but for for all you women out there who get breast implants or who are thinking about it, you have to know that you are the distant cousin of people who get sex changes. You have to understand that even though you think you're making yourself more a woman, what you are doing is you're altering the shape of your body and you're searching for happiness there, and there will be none. I'm not arguing your limitations for you. I know it sounds like I am, because I would never do that to someone, but you are basically pursuing something for happiness where you will find none. Zero. My wife hates it when I say never. You will not find happiness by getting breast implants. You will not find happiness by getting transition. These are all people who are running from something that they should be sitting with. I don't know what I just said, that I used to follow this. And for those of us men, we even know that, and this is the weird part, we still can't stop being attracted, even though we know your tits are just plastic bags inserted underneath your skin. We still can't help but not be attracted to them. I even saw the Instagram footage. They show this really beautiful girl and she puts watermelons under her or not watermelons, water balloons under her shirt. They show the whole thing, and then they show her run and they show the water balloons mounting, and I'm still attracted to her. Even though I saw what you did, and I can't, whatever. My thyroid's fucked up. It's off, and I can't control it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it is.
It's fucking weird. I can't say, but you personally will not be happy with extra attention. It doesn't work that way. That's not how we're set up. And I'm so sorry for those of you who think you can have some medical procedure to make you happy. It will not.
The dress might fit better.
True. Tons of dudes will be into you.
Maybe not the attention you want.
So can you walk me through the morning? So you actually had a heart attack.
Not a heart attack. So I know it said heart attack, but I didn't have a heart attack. Heart attack's kind of where your plumbing's like plugged up. My plumbing is clean. Like I don't have any blockages or anything like that, but I had it's more of an electrical problem. So it sounds really dramatic, but the medical definition is a sudden cardiac death event. So that's
what you had. You had a sudden cardiac event death.
Yep. Sudden cardiac death. Yep. That's what it's called. That's the terminology. So it was a competition called Fittest of the Upstate. It was this was before, now there's a gazillion competitions you should qualify for, but this was in 2019 before there were a lot of those. So this was the first one that I'd ever done that I had to qualify for, and they use your open scores to qualify. And so I was lucky enough to qualify. It was by
the way, that's a brilliant method that more people should use.
Yeah.
Just use the open for your own competition. But sorry, go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and they still do it. It's now Fittest of South Carolina. They expanded to the whole state, but back then that was the inaugural event. It was the first one in 2019. Fittest of the Upstate. So I was in the Masters division, and obviously I was 40. What was it, 3 years ago? For 42, I guess.
Was this your first competition ever entering?
No. I had done a bunch of competitions, throughout. But if you pay your money, you can compete, kind of thing. Not you've got to be good enough to compete. So there's a lot of stress. I mean, not stress, but I was kind of amped up for it, looking forward to it. And the old guys, we went in the morning. So there was only 4 events, but 2 of them were kind of tied together, a max lift into a Metcon. So there was only really 3 events, and we were going to be done by noon. We went early, and the very first event was and I know you probably don't care a lot about details, but it was an AMRAP.
No, I do. I like all these details.
All right. So it was an AMRAP of like a 14-calorie row. I think it was 12 burpee box jump overs, then 10 kettlebell snatches, I think, and a sandbag carry. And something for like 12 minutes or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I remember the very first row. I mean, it's like 3, 2, 1, go. The very first row. And I was like, golly, I feel slow, and like had like a little bit of like discomfort in the middle of my back. Not like, you pulled something in your back, just like this just feels off, and maybe I didn't stretch out enough, or I didn't warm up adequate, whatever. So I went through the whole first round. I got back to the row, and I remember like 6 calories in on a 14-calorie row, I stopped. And I remember my judge saying, like, what are you doing, man? You can't stop. I mean, you got to go. And I'm thinking the same thing. What the hell am I doing? I can't stop. This is like, and so I just like ground through the rest of the workout. Felt like shit the whole time, and I finished it.
So I want to. This is 2000. This is 3 years ago.
2019. Yep.
Okay. And when you say you stopped, do you know that really unique feeling of when you have food poisoning, or you're really sick, or like you really hurt yourself, and like even if you wanted to look at the outside world, you can't. There's something inside of you that's taking an assessment of your body. It's like it happens right before you throw up. Sometimes the whole system's like, it sucks that it's such a cool phenomenon. But do you know what I'm talking about? When the whole body, all your awareness, you're kind of like, you kind of step out of your body and you feel the whole body, the whole cyborg go, okay, systems check, like Iron Man. Yeah. And it's like running through and it's like something's not right. And it's like checking your feet and it's like, was it that when you stopped? You're like,
it really was.
I'm doing a systems check.
That's a good description of it. I mean, it really was. It was like, even when I finished the workout, I kind of went back and I couldn't almost like remember it. You know, like it just kind of was really going through the motions. I mean, it was the slowest burpee box jump overs you've ever seen. And like, you know, just the whole thing. I mean, I finished dead last by like 40 reps, something, I mean, like ridiculous. And of course, I didn't know anything was going on. So, you know, I'm kind of like, you need to suck it up, you know, get your act together, go and drink a Bang energy drink, which is probably,
yes,
like
I highly recommend.
I could do. You know?
I highly recommend that.
Sweated through a t-shirt, like wring it out, sweat it. And I mean, I was like, I'm so much more capable than this. What the hell happened? You know, so
let me ask,
drink a Bang energy drink and let's hit the next workout, you know, kind of thing.
Let me ask Caleb something here real quick. Caleb, as a medical professional, are those the two things that you should do if you feel like you're having a cardiac event? Drink a Bang and jump on the rower? Or do you jump on the rower and then drink a Bang? And which order that you do those?
The order matters, yeah.
We'll row first and then Bang. Probably.
And then shotgun a Bang like a holy
I didn't know I was having a cardiac event at that point. I just knew something was really off, you know, but it was, you know how it is. It's, I mean, as a guy, you're like, suck it up, man. I made this and, you know, pull yourself together, you know, because I didn't have any history of anything and I didn't think anything was going wrong. So I really
no heart attacks in your family either. Like your dad's cool, mom's cool, everything's chill. Okay.
Yeah, everybody's pretty good. My dad has some blockages, but like I said, this is not a blockage. And I've never had any heart stuff before. I do annual physicals and all that kind of stuff. Felt like I was in pretty good shape. So took an hour off or whatever it was in between the next event. You know, like I said, I got some food, drank that energy drink, changed shirts. And the next one was, you know, like silly. It was, I think, a minute on the Echo bikes had just kind of hit. And so we had an Echo bike. It was like a minute on the Echo bike and then max handstand walk distance.
You weren't scared in between in that hour? A voice didn't say to you, hey, dude, something's up?
No, I was pissed.
No. Okay.
Because I'd prepared for this. I'd done all the workouts. I'm like, what? You know, I really didn't have, I mean, maybe it's just arrogance, but I felt like something was off, but I couldn't pinpoint it. And I was like, you know, what the hell? What a shitty day to be off. You know, like I made this competition and wanted to do well. And what a shitty day to be off. So the next one was like I said, a minute on the Echo bike and a minute handstand walk. And I crushed it. I think I hit, I don't know, 30-something calories, 34 calories for a small guy on an Echo bike in a minute. It's pretty good. And then my handstand walk was decent. So it's kind of like back in. I was, you know, on the top end of the pack. I didn't win it or anything. But
that Bang worked.
Yeah. Bang energy was it. That's all I needed.
Bang pushed it out a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm back in it. Right. And then, you know, again, then felt okay. And the last workout was a max clean and jerk, which I PR'd my clean and jerk, which at that time was like 250 or 255. And then straight into a kind of like down and back workout. And I don't remember the numbers, but it was some toes to bar, deadlifts, pistols, then a huge set of double unders and then back, you know, pistols, deadlifts, toes to bar. And I think it was something short, 8 minutes or something like that, cap. But I mean, it was faster than that for the workout. And so I finished it and went over to cheer on a guy that was on his last set of toes to bar, like laying next to me, and took a knee, you know, kind of right in front of him, cheer him on. That's what CrossFitters do. You know, you're finishing up. And I did pretty well in the workout. I was pretty happy under the cap. And my day was done working out. That was the end of the competition. Really, it was small at that time. And he finished. And as I stood up, the whole room spun. And the next minute, I know I was in the back of an ambulance. The next thing I remember.
No shit.
Wow.
No pain.
No pain. Nothing. And you know, found out after the fact that I had gotten everybody pain. Of course, it was a big competition for our community, so there was a ton of people there. And the RX folks went in the afternoon, so everybody was starting to really get there. We were finishing up, and they were getting warmed up to start. So the gym is like packed, slam full of people. And thank God, because there was 2 emergency room nurses, there was a physician, there was a couple of EMTs, and they jumped in and got. There's 2 nurses from our gym that saw me go down, and you know, one of them, Nikki, told Elizabeth, and I know y'all don't know who these people are, but hey, something's not right with Kevin. They went out immediately, were like, he has no pulse, you know, and started CPR immediately. the community kind of gathered up. They brought ice. There's my rhythm from the AED. So
how did you find that?
Rhythm.
How did you find that?
They pulled it off the AED after they used the AED. It was, I think,
I know, but your account's private, isn't it?
Maybe
it's just an example of an EKG. So, like the first half is all normal, and then the second half is what it would look like if you had his rhythm. Yeah,
torsatus de points is what it's called, and basically, I've been told that probably CrossFit saved my life because they said I've talked to a lot of some firefighters and first responders and say we've seen that and people don't live through it. Very few people live through it. So
I don't understand. So the heart just got out of like rhythm or the beat, or like how does that happen if you don't have blockage?
Yeah, so it's just the electrical signals. Your heart, it's like, I mean, it's just, I'm an engineer, so the simplest way I can explain is your heart's just a pump. I mean, like an actual mechanical pump, and it needs piping for things to run through. That's your arteries and whatnot, and then it needs power, and so same thing with the heart. It has electrical signals in the body, and the electrical signals got off. I have a left branch chain bundle block, which kind of blocks signal on the left side, and it somehow got out of whack and then just couldn't get back in without some kind of intervention. So once it does that, it spikes up to, believe it or not, it's, 400 to 500 beats a minute. And it's not really beats. Whoa. I mean, you can see that it's just kind of really fluttering. It's not really beats, but it's more like, it's kind of like AFib, if you know what AFib is, but it's on the bottom of the heart in the ventricles. So VFib is what it's called, ventricular fibrillation, and it just flutters basically, and your brain's getting no blood. It's not pumping anything out. So
if a heart attack was when the heart's basically dry firing, right? There's some clottage and there's no blood going into the heart.
Can't pump anything through it, right? It's blocked. Yeah.
But what you're saying is imagine like that electrical wiring, like that's like in car stereos, how like they zip tie all the wires. You're saying that there was a spot where there was a shitload of wires that are supposed to provide some sort of electrical communication to the heart, and it's somehow that shit got restricted or something happened in the right. Electricity wasn't getting to the heart or signals.
Yeah, it kind of got out of sequence. So there's sequences, the way the heart pumps. Pulling it in, pumping it out, pulling it in, pumping it out. And so at some point it gets out of sequence, that because those electrical signals get off, and then
what's that called? What are those electrical signals called, or that bundle of wire or whatever we're talking about?
My issue is a left branch chain bundle block. That's what they call it. I mean, that's one of the issues. I have a couple others, but it's a whole bastion of them. But that's the one, from what I know. So
the nodes are the things controlling all of the electrical activity. So there's one on the top and one on the bottom, and the one on the bottom is the one he had issues with.
Yeah.
Can you put your arrow there? I don't see the one on the bottom. I just see like something vibe. Oh, that thing looks like testicles in your heart.
Testicles in your throat, testicles in your heart.
Yeah, all that's your testicles everywhere. And so do you have a pacemaker or like a something?
Yeah,
you do.
Well, it's on this side. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But it's a dual chamber pacemaker defibrillator. So yeah, it doesn't really pace me much because my heart doesn't need to be paced. And when I first got it, it was pacing. Believe it or not, I'm not that I'm some physical specimen, but I was in good enough shape that it was pacing me up at night while I slept because my heart rate would get so low and get in the mid 40s or something. And they were like, so they turned that off. They turned that function off. But so it really doesn't do any pacing anymore. It just kind of hangs out there, but it has a pacemaking ability. It's more for the defibrillator. So when it gets off,
basically you have an AED machine in you.
Exactly. That's exactly what I've got in me. Yep.
And if that thing happens again, that thing will just fire off and theoretically bring you back.
That's pretty much what it looks like. Yep. And it's happened 4 times, and it sucks.
No shit. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it's happened 4 times. And I had 2 events. So, when it first happened, I mean, I was so pissed. I was just mad. Like, why is this happening to me? I mean, immediately, we kind of jumping the gun, but I went to the hospital, obviously spent about a week in the hospital. They put the device in. My doctor that was there, my cardiologist said, "You'll never do CrossFit again. Maybe you can power walk." I remember that so distinctly. He was like, "Maybe you can power walk." And I was like, "Power walk? What the hell is that? Is that like that thing they do in the Olympics?" And he's like, "Yeah, but you can't do it that intense even. You can't, you might be able to walk fast, basically, is all you'll ever be able to do." And I was like, I don't accept that. I don't accept that. And so, I mean, I remember telling my wife,
you'll be having sex on your back the rest of your life. No more top positions.
Yeah. And really slow.
All right, doctor, I understand. Honey, I got bad news for you.
Doctor's orders.
Yeah. Good news.
So I said, I mean, that night I told my wife, I said, I'll qualify for fittest next year. And I'm not some superstar. I'm not saying that, but I mean,
you have psychological issues. You have psychological issues. We've established that.
Denial, immediate denial, like pissed off. This is not going to happen. And so for the first year or so, or maybe 6 months, 9 months, I trained it as hard, if not harder. I mean, I waited a couple of 6 weeks or something to get back in the gym, but I mean, I was back in the gym riding a bike 2 days after I got out of the hospital. Now, not riding a bike like Echo bike, hammering it, but just riding a bike. Like I got to get back. And within a month, I was back to regular workouts, probably. And then
you weren't scared, like all of a sudden every time you're working out, you're like paying attention to your heart. You're like,
not at first, I wasn't.
What's that guy doing?
I mean, I was so so pissed off and crazy that it was like just total defiance. What
did your kids say to you? Were your kids tripping? If I'd be tripping if that happened to me.
Yeah, and they were all there. My wife and both kids were there, so they saw the whole event. And saw the whole event, and that's another part of the story is not understanding like how much it affected my wife, because I kept saying like, this is my thing. I'm the one that died, for lack of a better term. This is my thing. I've got to get back. But what I didn't fail to recognize that like I was out the whole time. She's like, I saw you get CPR. I saw them bring that AED out and shock you. Like I saw all of that. I saw them. Everybody brought ice immediately. They thought I was having some kind of heat event, so they brought ice and put it on me. Then they realized, oh shit, we got to shock him, and he's laying in a pool of water. So somebody grabbed my feet and drugged me, like unconscious out of the water so they could put the AED. And she saw all that. I didn't. I woke up in the ambulance. She dealt with a lot of kind of post.
Yeah, dude. When it's like when your wife has a bad day or something, it fucks the whole family up, right? Like all of a sudden now, like if my wife's in a bad mood, I can't handle it. It's hard for me. Hide that shit, fake it. It's putting me in a bad mood.
And then not to mention the kids, they were there. My son was 15 at the time. My daughter was 12. So I mean, they were old enough to understand what was going on.
The gym had an AED there.
They did. The gym had an AED, and that's a whole nother story. The guy that owned it was a CrossFit Greer, and the guy that owned it has had heart problems. He actually had open heart surgery, and he did the same thing a few years before me. Not the same thing as Life Art an event, but he kind of went through the denial and why has this happened to me, and like I think God must have a plan for this. And so he actually went. They couldn't afford it. It's a small gym. They couldn't afford an AED, so he went out on his own and found a charity that raises money and donates AEDs if you'll get enough people trained. And that's the only reason they had that AED there that day.
Wow.
He had gone through it and had a heart event himself. So, I mean.
And it saved your life?
And it saved my life. Yep.
If that wasn't there, you'd be toast?
Yep. Absolutely. There was nothing that was going to get my heart out of that funky rhythm other than a shock. And that's still the way it is now. So, but like I said, so I trained for a while, and about one day I was doing actually during freaking COVID, I was doing a kind of an engine builder program where it was like running and rowing and biking 4 or 5 days a week. And so there was on Saturday morning, I remember there was an hour-long run for max distance. And I'm not a runner. I mean, I'm a CrossFitter, so I don't like to run.
400s only.
So it's kind of, I was running and my legs were cramping a little bit, probably 45 minutes in, and I ended up doing a little over 7 miles in an hour, so slow run. But my legs were cramping at mile 5, and that should have been a pretty dang good indication, because I talked to several doctors at this point, and they all said, I really think it was just dehydration. Your magnesium was low. Magnesium is really important to control the heart rhythm. And he said, I just think your magnesium was low. I bet you'll never have anything else ever again. I had a cardiologist tell me that. And so I was cramping, which is a pretty good indication your electrolytes are off, whatnot. But dumbass me, just, put your head down and grind, rub it out and keep going. And as soon as I got back to my mailbox, it was finishing up the 60 minutes, I got shocked. And it knocked me down and skinned up my knees.
You mean your internal one shocked you?
Yeah. Yeah. I got real woozy again and got hit. Yeah. And so,
and you were on your feet when that happened?
Yeah. Yeah. It did knock me down, but I got to got on the ground as fast as I could.
Does it hurt?
Yeah,
when it shocks?
It hurts. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
But I mean, I could kind of explain it away because I was like, you're a dumbass. You knew you were cramping. You should have stopped. You should have got electrolytes. You know better, that kind of thing. So I could still kind of explain it away and did. And went and saw a cardiologist. They verified, yeah, you were in that same rhythm. If you didn't have it, you'd be dead, blah, blah, blah. And
what year was that?
Fuck.
That was in 2020 during like height of COVID. You know,
has it even been a year at that point since the original incident?
No, it hadn't even been a year. Probably, maybe it had been 6 months, something. It's probably early 2020. I think we had just got sent home, locked down everything. So I think it was probably around April or something of 2020. So it happened in August of 19. So it's probably 8 months later, 8 months later.
Kevin, do you ever have that? Have you ever had that thing happen to you where you're in bed at night and you're sleeping? It could be just like the middle of the night and your leg cramps.
Yeah.
And then you got to straighten it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen to you, Susan?
I used to have it a lot. I used to have it a lot before, and I think my body has trouble like absorbing electrolytes or whatever, which may be a contributing factor. But I used to get that a lot, when especially like on a squat day or something like that, you wouldn't rehydrate and wake up with your quad like just locked down,
For me, it's always my hamstring, but I never had that until I was in my late 40s. It's so weird. I'll just be in bed. It'll be like 3 a.m, and I'll notice I'm curled up like a kidney bean, and I'll wake up and I'll feel my hamstring start locking up, and I have to immediately straighten my leg. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Is that electrolytes, you think, too?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is for me, and it's a lot of times I'm a person that sweats a lot. We already talked about that, but I sweat through shirts pretty easy, and a lot of times it's sodium for me. I mean, I don't have enough sodium, and I don't really try to eat a low sodium diet, even with my heart stuff. You need to be on a cardiac diet, but I don't try to eat a low sodium diet. A lot of times I don't have enough sodium. So I mean, now I use electrolyte drinks and have sodium in them.
What do you use? Do you use that LMNT, the raw bull stuff?
Element, or however you say it. LMNT, that's the one. And then I have the podium one too, the podium salt. I like that one too, the hydro salt or whatever. Yeah. But those are the two that I use mainly. But and I pretty much drink one every day, whether I need it or not. They got good magnesium in them plus the salt. Yeah.
And they taste good. Have you ever had the habanero one?
Yeah. It's got some kick in it.
It does?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it kind of, you feel it in the back of your throat, like a little bit of like you ate a pepper or something. Yeah.
I just saw they had a habanero one. I got excited. I still haven't.
They got a chili powder, chili mango or something like that too. It's pretty good. It's like
Did you get the habanero one, Susan? Did you buy it?
No, I don't think I have the habanero one, but I have a big bag of different flavors. I'll have to comb through.
Probably in there. Yeah. That's where I saw I got a kind of sample pack that had them all in there. So the chocolate one's terrible. I'll tell you, chocolate and salt. Not that good, but
not good combo. Pretty good. They're salty too.
Yeah, they are.
You gotta really dilute it. Yeah.
Happens a lot under carnivore diet. Elemental magnesium. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Jeff, with more positive information as normal. Marketing. Thank you for your constant barrage of just.
It works for me, so I don't know. But
don't listen to Jeff. Yeah. Don't listen. Caleb, what were you saying, Caleb? You were nodding to something. You've had the habanero?
Yeah, the habanero and then like mango chili. Those are both really good.
What's your favorite flavor of those?
Probably the mango chili. The chocolate one is absolutely disgusting.
It's terrible. Yeah,
Kevin and Caleb agree. Chocolate is no good.
This is the girl I was talking about who cured herself of the Hashimoto's. You might want to check out her account. And there's tons and tons of side boob in it too.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Tons. There's tons of crazy side boob in it. But she cured herself of Hashimoto's, and so she says. I used to follow her. She says a lot of cool shit. When my account got I think my other account's gone, by the way, Susan. I can't even
gone.
Gone. I know, it sucks.
You and Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the first one, and and then you've had 3 more since then.
Yeah. So the next one was probably 2 months later, and I was dead asleep. I mean, so that was the first one. That was kind of really the kick in the ass that said, "Hey, like you got something wrong, man. You're gonna have to deal with it." because
what is the normal amount that thing fires? Like, let's say for someone who gets one, like one more in their lifetime or something, or two in their lifetime.
Some people get hit a lot. It just kind of depends, and they say it's safe, you start getting, they told me don't sweat it if you get hit. Of course, it's easy for the doctors to say, don't sweat it if you get hit, unless it's like 2 or 3 times in an hour, so
it's not like a cortisone shot where every time you take it,
that was my thought. That thing's never going to go off. So,
right. Okay. Sorry. So it goes off in your sleep.
Yeah. Dead asleep. So, I woke up like screaming, thinking, kind of didn't know what happened, whatever. My wife grabbed me and like, you're all right. You're all right. And I was like, hell, I think I just got shocked, And so, thank goodness we have a really good friend that works at the cardiologist. She's the device nurse. And so this was on a weekend. We were able to call her, and I have a device that sits by my bed. This thing transmits to and sends all my stuff to him every day or two. So, but there's a button on it, I can send it like immediately. So I sent her the stuff, and she's like, yep, you were in that rhythm. And so that was kind of the wake up call. Like, hey man, you really got something wrong. You got to like mentally deal with this. So, I had some follow-up appointments with my cardiologist, because the other ones I could kind of explain away. Well, you were a dumbass. You were sweating through a shirt. You drank a Bang energy drinks. That was stupid. Or you're cramping up. You had all the signs and you just ignored it. But this one, obviously no signs. I'm asleep. So, I had some appointments with my doctor and my local cardiologist here, and he basically just said, hey man, you got to accept it. You got luck of the draw. You got kind of a crappy heart, and that's the reason you have that thing in your chest, is it's the safety net, and it's okay if it goes off, but you're going to have to accept it, that's part of the deal. And so, wow. I kind of, at that point, I sort of slowed down and kind of regrouped, and I was still training and CrossFitting, but I kind of took some of the, laid off the competitions and just sort of, all right, let's reassess a little bit. And then I was really clean, like no issues for over 2 years. And then just in the last month, I've gotten hit two more times. Once I was training at the gym and actually lost consciousness and like face planted into the turf at our gym, and somebody grabbed me and yelling my name, and I got shocked. And then about a week later, I got hit sitting on the couch watching TV.
Oh, when you get hit, when it shocks you, does that mean you need to go to the hospital?
No, they tell me not to go. Don't worry about calling, 911 or going to the hospital or anything, unless you get 2 or 3 in a rapid succession, like in an hour or something like that. So, when it shocks me, it puts me right back into a normal rhythm. So these last 2 that happened, once I was at the gym, I was in the middle of kind of like an EMOM workout. It wasn't extremely strenuous. I felt fine until I didn't. And we had one of the EMOMs was you push the sled down 50 feet and then pull it back with a rope. And as soon as I let go of the rope tension, I stood up and I was like, whoa, and put my hands on my knees. And then, like I said, face planted on the turf. And a guy that was coming behind me, we were kind of waterfalled in. He was pushing the same sled as me. He was right there and kind of turned me over and shook me a little bit and yelled my name. And I was back, and I was fine. But it's pretty scary. Yeah. Yeah,
it sounds scary. And how about the one when you're sitting on the couch? Did you feel anything other than the shock? Like, did everything seem normal and you just got shocked?
Everything seemed normal until like right before it. Like I said, the heart just flutters, and so it's not pumping any blood. So at some point you're not getting any blood to your brain. So I got really, really woozy, dizzy. It felt like for like 15 seconds, but it's probably like 2 seconds. And then I got popped. And that one, honestly, the other ones I was either asleep or working out. And so it was kind of like unexpected. Like I sort of knew that one was coming. That was the first one. And it felt like somebody like blew my shoulder off. It hurt like hell. And it just was, I went to my knees and yelled out and just kind of sat there and chilled out for a second. But both of those recent 2, I was in VFib, ventricular fibrillation. The one at the gym, my heart rate got up to like 480 something, they said. And then the one at home, it was in the high 300s.
It's basically, they're not even heartbeats at that point. It's like that thing, like when your pecs like doing that weird thing, how sometimes that'll happen. It's just like,
it's very much like that. It's just really fluttering. It's not pumping anything out or it's not doing anything. It's just kind of fluttering. It's the same thing with AFib, but AFib is on the top, of your heart. That's pulling the blood in. So that's not as much of a problem other than potential blood clotting and stuff like that. But VFib is deadly down on the bottom because your heart's not putting anything out.
What did they say after? Did you go to the doctor after the second one?
Yeah, I went to the doctor and actually spent 3 days in the hospital after this recent one. And they started me on a new anti-arrhythmia medicine to try to knock the arrhythmias down. So I tried, immediately when all this stuff first happened, it's like, oh, you have to take a beta blocker. That's like the first line of defense. You got to take a beta blocker.
Isn't that what you do to change little boys into girls?
Basically, it does. I will say it emasculates you. I don't know. It sucks. And I couldn't tolerate a beta blocker. They're designed to lock your blood pressure down, knock your heart rate down. Well, my blood pressure and heart rate was already low. So it would take it down even because I was in decent shape. So it would take it down even further to the point that I had all kinds of issues, but I had days at work where I'd be sitting at my desk and like 3 hours would go by and I wouldn't remember what I did. And one time I was driving somewhere and went past where I was going and couldn't remember where I was going. So
the beta blockers did that to you?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Caleb, that's the same shit they give little kids? That's the same shit?
Beta blockers?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm trying to do some research right now. I'll look it up.
Is it Lupin or something like that?
I'm going to type in beta blockers. I want to be a girl.
Kevin, do you modify your workouts in any way now in the sense of kettlebell, like a heavy kettlebell swing overhead or an overhead squat or anything like that may have the potential, if it goes off, that would crash down on you in any manner?
I really don't. I probably maybe should. And I've thought about that before, but I really don't. Whether it's have a heavy barbell on your back or something, and then it goes off and you just crumble, that kind of thing. But no, I really don't. I don't run much because really running, as cliche as it is, CrossFitters hate to run, but that spikes my heart rate more than anything. And I've tried to run as slow as you can and all the breathing methods and all that. So any downtime there's running, I'm pretty much going to get on a bike or even a rower or something like that.
So you got off the beta blockers?
I did. I talked to my doctors pretty quickly and was like, I can't do this, man. I looked at it and I said, look, I can take this medicine and go sit on the couch maybe and live till I'm 70, but I won't be living at all. This is horrible. Horrible. I hate to say it. My dick didn't work sometimes. It
says it causes dry vagina. It says it causes, right here in this, it says that's one of the things.
It was just horrible. And I felt like crap all the time. Had a dull headache, spacey headed, dizzy a lot. I told the doctor, I can go sit on the couch and live till I'm 70 or 80, but that's not living. I'd rather die at 50, 55 and at least live through, have some kind of life, so,
hey, check this out. God, I was so stupid I've been so stupid in my life. Can you imagine having a diagnosis for a child called hyperactivity? Anyone who has kids, that's absurd. That's like diagnosing a human with breathing. This one breathes.
Breathing here. Yeah.
I understand. That one's hyperactive. How old is it? It's 7. That makes something's wrong with that bird. How come it flies? That makes no fucking, because it says beta blockers are used to treat hyperactivity. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So, it's basically a medicine that's designed to just slow your whole system down, blood pressure, heart rate, everything. And if you have high blood pressure or something, maybe that's effective. I don't know. It puts it at a normal level, but if you're already at a normal level or even a little on the low side, it just sucks the life out of you. So I told him, I can't take this. I won't take this. At one point they, hey, you have to take some. And I had the very lowest dose pill and I was trying to use a razor blade to cut it in half because they were like, you have to take it. You have to take it. Or you're going to get shocked again. You're going to die. I'm literally trying to razor blade the smallest pill you can think of. And then licking it off the counter because it's just dust, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. The problem that I've seen is people giving beta blockers out to inactive, overly just obese people. So they're already slow and not doing anything. And then you're giving them a beta blocker and now they're just even slower and more sluggish and don't want to do anything. And they're counteracting that with bang and tobacco and whatever the fuck else.
Jeez. Perfect.
Dude,
you're slowing yourself down and then trying to speed it back up with other.
So I don't think it's it doesn't really affect your hormones, but it does affect your system, the blood pressure, like you said. And then, so it's not like a testosterone blocker or anything like that. Or any sort of hormone blocker.
Check this out, Kevin. I'm at violinist.com. And it says a student's mom gave her a beta blocker before an audition she was nervous about. The student is 11.
Ugh, yeah.
You gave before Avi's jiu-jitsu match last week. I gave him 2 beta blockers because he was nervous.
Jesus.
You fucking idiots.
I mean, I don't.
You
I mean, I guess
fucking
maybe a
idiots.
violinist could perform, but in any athletic type endeavor, it would be the last thing you
Yeah.
want to do.
Dude, you don't give a beta blocker to anyone. I'm sorry. You got
they're
big.
really-
It's
I
like
mean,
the fake
they may
tits. You got bigger problems.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but they didn't work for me. And I've even had a cardiologist call them poison before, and they're especially bad for males, just for the natural,
For the cock and balls.
Yeah, just kind of.
Did your cock bounce back?
Yeah, I'm all
It did,
good.
okay.
All good.
All right.
No,
All right.
Yeah, wife's happy. So I think you're right. Seems happy, but
Whatever. Just tell
yeah.
yourself that. That's what I tell myself. She's happy.
Yeah. So the last couple of events, the one on the couch, I did spend 3 days. You asked, I spent 3 days in the hospital, and they did put me on an anti-arrhythmia medicine. The only reason I was in the hospital is because it's a medicine that can either make you better or make you worse. And they got
I love those options.
Yeah. So I'm still getting used to it, but so far it's been okay. So it's supposed to, it does a little bit of the same thing, but not to the extent. So I'm surviving. But they do have me. I've got a couple of really good doctors. One that's actually pretty involved in the CrossFit health program at the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland. That's the #1 heart hospital in the world, or in the country at least. And so I've been up there a couple of times. I've got a couple of doctors I work with, one of which is a sports cardiologist, which I found to be pretty rare, because a lot of cardiologists, the guy here didn't know what to do with me. He's dealing. I mean, I go sit in that office, I look around and like everybody's 80, and I'm like, I don't belong here, but I do. So he's
probably still telling his clients to drink non-fat milk and cut back on the salt. He's probably like of that era.
Don't exercise so hard.
Healthy Cheerios.
You can't exercise anymore. You can't exercise so hard, whatever. I just didn't accept that. So I did find a sports cardiologist, and just so I didn't know he was part of the CrossFit health program until I went and met with him. But he's got me kind of pulled back right now. Try to keep the heart rate under 140, and I go see him in late September. Back in Cleveland, he puts me on a bike, and it's kind of like a what they call a stress echo. They hook me up to 100 wires, kind of like a Gatorade commercial, but and I ride the bike until I can't anymore. It kind of continues to increase in intensity, and they measure all the heart rhythms and all that kind of stuff. So I go back to see him in a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping he'll give me a little more leeway to get back to hitting it hard and whatnot.
Miss Lisa Carverdale, would you ask a female guest about her cock, Sevan? If she had a cock, that's all we would talk about for the whole 90 minutes. It must be a trip for your doctor. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do. They have a treadmill there, but I don't know for whatever reason my doctor likes the bike better, so he puts me on a bike. But it sort of looks like that, yeah. Except for you have a mask on and everything else, dude. Yeah, Caleb,
where's that dude's mask?
Yeah,
my bad.
It must be a trip for doctors. I have a friend who's a cardiac radiologist, and he said he'll go 3 months of reading x-rays or whatever the fuck he reads, and he'll go months, 3 months at a time without seeing a single person who's not obese. It must be a trip. It must be a trip for your doctor when you come in there to be like, he looks at you and just trip like, what the fuck?
Yeah. This
is like a normal looking human being.
Yeah. And I mean, he said, you're doing everything right. You might be, and of course, the doctor here, like I said, he's a great doctor. I think he's a really good doctor. I like him, but he doesn't know. He really doesn't know what to do with me. He's just, don't do it so much or so hard, or slow it down a little bit, And I'm not some kind of really truly fire breather, I mean, doing the best I can, with what I got at 47, almost 47 years old. But I mean, I like to push myself, and see what I can do. But
we don't even know how
what to do with me.
We're even screwed up because no one. It's so hard to figure out what the baseline is. You can intellectualize it, but there's so many sick people around us. I mean, they just shut down planet Earth for a sickness that does not hurt healthy people, not even a little bit, not one. Right. And so our baseline's all fucked up. We don't know. There's this. It's is the baseline now in the United States someone who's 100 pounds overweight who eats a gallon of Haagen-Dazs every month? I mean, I don't. It must be a trip. Doctors in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I don't, and there's so, we're so afraid of offending people that we don't. I mean, all through COVID, you didn't hear, well, let's shut down McDonald's and maybe you need to lose some weight and that would help. I mean, that's what, exercise is medicine. I mean, I hate to say that. That's so cliche. And,
how did no one say that?
The CrossFit health flag, but I mean, exercise is medicine.
It really is phenomenal. It's crazy that neither Trump or Biden ever said, hey, you have to, you have to.
Dude, not only
you have to, everyone has to walk 1 hour every day. I mean, these idiots fucking locked people inside.
Yeah, not only did not say it, Joe Rogan and people that did say it got canceled or attempted to cancel or whatever.
Well, he waited a long time, man.
Yeah, I know, but maybe not him.
Too
but
long.
Just a lot of people that came out and said, if doctors said, hey, lose some weight, eat better, whatever, that, oh, you're not taking this seriously, you're canceled, you're whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember within the first week of them talking about quarantines, Greg immediately showed me on the Center for Disease Control on their website. It says, during pandemics, do not quarantine the healthy people. The quarantines is always only the sick people. As soon as they started quarantining healthy people, he's like, oh shit, dude, this is going to get fucking weird. And it did. We started killing tens of thousands of old people that no one still wants to talk about. Tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, so you are in kind of a weird spot right now. You're in a spot where the situation is not under control.
That's true. It's not ideal for sure. So I'm kind of, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough to go to the gym and train and have, my heart rate displaying on my phone all the time and trying to all right, I got to take a break. I know I could jump back on that bar right now and do some more, but I got to take a break because my heart rate's at 145 and it's higher than I want to, and I'm trying to be the good patient and do what they tell me, because I do, like I said, I do. Dr. Emery in Cleveland, who's the sports cardiologist, I do have a lot of faith in him, and he does CrossFit regularly. He knows how important it is to me. And, he's always said, we want you to do it. You have to understand the risk. There's risk when you get in that really high intense threshold. There's risk that you could get shocked, but you've got the safety net. Be aware. And this time he was kind of like, hey man, I looked at your rhythms. We need to back off a little bit. So, I know he wouldn't be telling me that if he would. It's not just the standard. That's the easy answer for him.
Hey dude, I know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a friend of mine, Dr. Michael Emery.
Yeah. He's awesome. Yeah. He's
dude.
It's like such a crazy, universal minds God thing that I got lined up with him, because I just, I called the Cleveland Clinic. They just, when I got scheduled for him, they just said, we're going to schedule with this guy. I didn't know who he was. And then when I got up there, I found out he used to live in Greenville and practice in Greenville, about an hour from here. And we know a lot of the same, how the CrossFit community is. We end up knowing a lot of the same people. And then he's also a CrossFitter. He's also, part of the CrossFit.
He's friends with Greg. That's how this guy's awesome.
Yeah. So this
guy is so awesome. Guy. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. This guy's a hardcore CrossFitter.
Yep. Yeah. So,
wow. That is crazy. There's tons of good physicians out there. Even the shitty ones. There's tons of shitty ones who can save your life too. Tons and tons. There's some fucking complete fucking wackadoodle physicians who are like super, super good to me and my family.
Yeah.
Anytime something happens to one of my kids, they call in and check. Yeah. It's
but you've got to be your own advocate. You've got to find that guy.
Yeah.
That's what I found is you got to, you don't have to take the first answer and say, well, that's it, and like go sit on the couch or whatever, or take this pill, or these 10 pills, one, and when you get side effects from one pill, so take a pill to offset the side effects. Yeah. Take a different pill to offset the side effects.
Yeah.
It just becomes a nightmare and, just snowballs. So.
Jeff, Greg just texted me too and asked me if I wanted to go to breakfast. Just so you know.
Just so you know, Jeff.
Do you want to go to the Spur?
What's Spur?
Jeff, I'm actually taking Greg's son to the skate park today with as soon as I get off the show in 5 minutes, I'm taking Greg's son to the skate park with my kids. How's that for 3 references? Jackass.
Yeah.
Jeff, keep count.
Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone else in your situation? Do they know anyone else in your situation in the world?
Yeah, believe it or not. I mean, you kind of. I mean, there was a
You're in a
soccer
Facebook
player.
group, guys with fucked up tickers.
I actually am in a Facebook group, but it's like all sorts of heart issues, not just mine, and mine's pretty rare. But
do you talk shit to the fatties? Are you like, get the fuck out of here? We know what's wrong with your heart.
I'm really trying not to
We
be
can
the
see
guy
it.
that gets cracked open. Is what I'm really trying. I've been cracked
Yeah.
open. I'm trying not to be that guy. But yeah, actually, a couple people that I know. So you may have heard. I mean, this is America, but there was a soccer player in Europe that kind of had the same event on a soccer field, and he's back playing professionally again. And so I don't know, I don't remember his name right off the top, but about a year later with the device, I think his is on his ribs. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And just by luck of the draw, I met another guy that's, in South Carolina. He's out on the coast and near Charleston that had a very similar event in his gym. And he now has a device, and we've actually become good friends. Our sons competed together at an event recently.
Wow.
He's got a son that's a year younger than my son, and they did a CrossFit competition together. His name's Jeff Luther, and from CrossFit Wando, but he had a similar event in his gym, just on a regular class. And the previous weekend he had been out. He's a runner. He had done like some kind of crazy 10-mile trail run, and had it happen there, he'd be dead. He was just out in the middle of the woods. And then it happened a week later at his gym, and they had an AED. I think he got shocked. He had to get shocked twice, I think.
Wait, it happened when who saved him when he was out in the woods?
No, it didn't happen when he was in the woods. That he had been doing a run. We talked about it a good bit. I've gotten to be really good friends with him, and he lamented, if this would have happened the previous week, no one would have been around. I mean, somebody would have just eventually found me in the woods dead, so. But
do you know who Louis L'Amour is?
I don't.
He writes cowboy books.
Okay.
Do you read cowboy books?
No, I don't read cowboy books. I like cowboy movies. Does that count? Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Just when I hear you talk, you sound like there's like a poetry to the way you say shit, and you just remind me of a cowboy author.
Oh, all right. Maybe I should write cowboy books. That could be.
I thought if you would have imagine how smart I would have sounded to the audience if you'd be like, "Yeah, Louis L'Amour is my favorite author." I'd be like, "Yeah,
that's my own.
Makes sense."
Yeah.
Instead, I sound like a jackass. But you got to gamble. Even Jordan missed some shots, right?
That's right. About half of them he took. Yeah.
Hey, if you and this guy, what was his name? John Woodworth?
Jeff Luther. Yeah.
Jeff Luther. If you and Jeff ever do a competition together, you got to tell the organizers, we're going to need our own ambulance. Just have some dudes stand over here.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I went back to do fitness again, I didn't finish the story, but I told my wife that night, I'm going to qualify next year. And so, then COVID happened. So they didn't have it next year. Right. Didn't have it. So the following year I qualified, and when I remember when I went to sign up, they were like, "We have a special waiver for you." I think they were kidding, but I did sign some like 3 pages of waiver, and I was like, "All right." So I was just glad they had it again. I was like, because it was at their inaugural event, and I'm like, "Damn it, I messed up their whole competition." They had done all this planning in it, and then I had to go screw it up, but because they canceled the rest of our event, and then they ended up doing the RX folks in the afternoon, but.
Really? With your event, they ended up canceling the rest of the shit?
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a lot of people in my division that didn't get to finish and that kind of stuff. So
I wonder how many of them asked for their money back.
Yeah.
Like a week later, not then. They wait a little bit. Make sure
what is the protocol on that, Caleb? Like the show must go on, right? Like, so what? Like, get him off the field, please.
Drag him off.
Yeah, drag him off. We got
He's fucking bumming everyone out. He's bumming everyone out.
Yeah, he's dragging the whole thing down. Yeah.
Usually, I mean, at Wadapalooza and something happens, they just continue to go. They just kind of move it off.
Move it off to the side.
But especially with like bigger events like that, local events, I haven't seen anything crazy like that happen. So I don't know.
Have you seen anyone get defibbed at a CrossFit event, Caleb?
No, actually, no. That doesn't happen very often, thankfully.
Yeah. So 2 years later, after 2 years, I went back and qualified for it, and went and finished second. So I was real happy.
Oh shit!
real happy
Wow.
to come back. It was kind of a redemption thing. And so, yeah, it was not for me, but just for the community in general. It's just, I mean, who've been so supportive all the way through. I mean, the community literally saved my life. All the people that were there and knew what to do, and the trained professionals and, you know, whatnot. So to come back and be able to thank them and just be there was a really cool event.
How long ago was that? Just months ago?
That was in 2021. Yeah.
Okay. So 2 years after the actual event.
2 years after. Yeah. So like 2020, it got canceled. So I qualified, but they canceled it. And then 2021, was the first time they'd had it again. So
let me work the vaccine in here a little bit. Any issues going to the hospitals to get medical treatment since you're not vaccinated?
nothing other than having to wear a stupid mask, you know. But,
okay.
I mean,
but they're not like, hey, we're not going to treat you unless you get vaccinated. It's a waste of our resources. Or they don't pull, like, you know what I mean? Like you hear stories like, hey, you can't get a liver transplant because you're not vaccinated or whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was at one point when this most recent hospital stay, when I had to go in for 3 days, I did it here in Greenwood, but I talked about doing it up in Cleveland. And they were going to require a COVID negative test, but nobody, you know, no issues with not being vaccinated.
Wow.
Yeah. So far, I mean, I've had cardiologists tell me I need it, you know, to which I say, like, it causes heart problems. I already have heart problems. I'm not getting it. I mean, I'm not taking that chance.
Not doubling down on that one. Yeah.
Do they think you're wearing a tinfoil hat when you say that?
No, not they.
A year ago,
I'm pretty definitive about it. So I'm pretty, and you know, I got them dug in on it, and I think they realize there's no reason to argue with this guy.
Yeah.
I'm on this text thread with a handful of doctors, and everyone sends the deaths they see to it. And it's definitely made me biased, that's for sure. But man, they're piling in every single fucking day. Some young man is dying somewhere now on planet Earth that can't be explained.
Yeah.
And it seems like it happens all to them when they're exercising, and they're all unexplained. They can't even say, hey, it's a
vaccine death. Yeah.
I mean, it's so fucking weird. I don't know if it's healthy for me to even be on that thread.
Yeah. I mean, and think about how opposite that was with the actual COVID deaths. I mean, you could die, you could get be on having a motorcycle accident, call it a COVID death. I mean, that was the default was to call it a COVID death, and now it's the complete opposite.
Dude, George Floyd had COVID.
Wow.
And they blamed it on some cop.
Oh my God. You got them all in there.
I'm working it. I have a bias. Well, Kevin, I appreciate you coming on the show. I know we had to reschedule once. I know I was late
right.
today. Maybe it's a blessing. Maybe we should all go buy lotto tickets. 600 shows in or whatever. It's the first time I ever been late. Is that true? Am I?
Yeah, that's 100% true. And I told them the only other time there's ever been anything at 600 shows was when we had that author on and your whole computer decided to re-update right before we went live.
Oh, that was Mesrick?
No. That was Michael. I forget.
I don't even remember that, but that sounds stressful as fuck. I need to get defibbed right now.
Those were the two times. They had a 600 shows. Those two. I had coaches that on the first week fucked up and tried to blame it on excuses. So you're good.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, this morning when I realized that after all this finagling to try to make today work for me and rescheduling, I woke up and I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't change the setting on my alarm. And normally I would have woke up and I would have been really angry. Like I would have taken an angry shower, but for some reason I wasn't angry. I enjoyed my coffee. I chilled. Have you, I don't know why, but have you changed your temperament as this happens in the last 2 years? Has it changed your perspective on life and what upsets you? And like a rock hits your windshield and you're like, instead of like getting pissed, now you're like, oh, I see the Virgin Mary in the crack. Oh,
it's not quite that laid back, but I mean, I've gotten less pissed about the situation. You know, it still comes in waves, you know, because I don't want to say I thought I was in the clear, but I was like pretty much episode free for 2 years. So these last couple have kind of like brought me back to it, you know, and I go through like, I'm not clinically depressed or anything, but there's some like downtime where I'm like, shit, this sucks, man. Why is this happening to me? You know, and I go to the gym and there's 40 other people around me that are cranking it out. You know, I went to a partner workout at the gym this Saturday and I was like, I pulled in the parking lot, and the parking lot is slammed full. And I'm like, I'm not even going to go in because I don't want anybody to have to partner with me. I can't get my heart rate, whatever. And, one of my best friends came over and was like, hey, man, we're going to, instead of doing 3 rounds, we're going to do 2, and we're just going to have fun with it. And that put me back into perspective. But there's some of that, like, this sucks. And why me? But I'm a Christian, and I believe God has a plan. I don't know what it is. And I get mad at him a lot and say, hey, man, why are you doing this to me? Your plan's supposedly for the good, but I don't see any good in this. But I know there is. And so I don't know. Yeah, I get mad.
Hey, just so you know,
anger in there,
I know you know this already, but no one cares. Like, my mom used to not go to partner workout days too because she said she was old and she didn't want to slow down. I'm like, Mom, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah. And that's like, just arrogance.
Those people can stay for a second. Yeah, they can stay for a second class if they want to get a workout. Like, no one cares. No one's like, oh, I got the fucking old person or the fat person, or no one cares. You know who the only person you don't want is the person whose feet smell. If your feet stink, fuck you. You have to fix that.
Yes.
And I sat in my truck for 5 minutes, and then finally was like, I'm going to go in. I'll just go in the corner and I'll do the partner workout by myself, like do just half it and take, and then it was like, no, none of that. And that's again, a testament to our community and the folks around, and, people know what's going on, but, and some of that, like being looked at out the side, you good? What are you going to do today? You can't do this workout, and some of that sucks. And sometimes I want to punch somebody, like I could do it, I used to be able to run circles around this workout and, whatever, but it's just people, it's because people care, it really, they honestly care. And like you said, they don't care. Like, I don't want you to die. I don't want you to lay there and I've got to do something. They care this because they want you to be all right, and mentally, physically, whatever.
Is there less shit talking to you now? Like I can remember being I told the story a bunch, but I can remember being at HQ and the workout was 135-pound overhead squats, and I was using 95 pounds. And I heard a female employee who worked for me, maybe 2 rungs down in the food chain, 3 rungs down, go, "You're a bitch." And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm pretty sure that's directed at me. And I look over and it was directed at me.
Yeah. No one wants to race me anymore, I don't think.
So is it like, instead of
you're
like,
no fun to race anymore, you got it.
Is there less shit talking to you though? Like, does anyone like no one calls you a bitch anymore? If they're like, oh, are you okay? I baked you some cookies.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely less of that. So that's, I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that's good or bad. Yeah. I think it's probably bad, but it is what it is.
What if, can you imagine the day you talk shit to Kevin and that's the day he had one of his fucking, he gets shocked.
Hammered. Damn it, I was trying to beat you and I would have had you if it wasn't for the damn defibrillator. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, dude. I really do.
Thank you for having me. Let me tell my story. I just tell people out there, I know everybody's got barriers and shit they're dealing with and whatever. And, just keep grinding. If it's a medical thing, find a good doctor, man. It makes all the world, all the difference in the world, and find somebody else to talk to. Cause that, as a guy, and this isn't a PSA or something, but, as guys, we like to, especially, I know I'm like this when I'm having issues and dealing with shit, that's when I withdraw. I'm like, I gotta fix it. I gotta deal with it. And it helps to find somebody else that's going through it and deal with it. So that's helped me. I know. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Thank
you,
man. I made a deal with myself at some point in my life. I can't remember where. It was like 10 or 15 years ago. I said, I'm never going to allow myself to be embarrassed ever again the rest of my life, no matter fucking what. So if I drop my cell phone, if I fucking walk out of the shower and someone sees my dick, so like I am going to act cool in every fucking situation and take that as an opportunity, because being embarrassed is I think the weakest thing you can do. It's better just to own shit. And so
I have a really good friend, a coach that actually coached me some individually, Gordon Lake, who actually runs the fittest competition now and owns CrossFit Simpsonville. And he's one of those guys that's the kind of friend you really want to have that will tell you how it is. And I was telling him, when Fittest came around this year, I really wasn't in very good shape. And I was kind of, there's a long run event in it. And I was like, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to embarrass you, because he had been training me. So I was like, I'm going to embarrass you as a coach. And he just flat out said, like, that sounds like a self, just an arrogance problem.
It is arrogance. Yeah. Well said. You nailed it. Yes.
He's like, it sounds like you're arrogant. And you're worried, it's more about you and your self-image than anything. because nobody else cares. Just like you said, nobody else gives shit.
Oh shit.
So,
No one else
and I
gives
was
a
like,
shit.
golly.
Yeah.
A matter of
Yeah,
fact, people will
But I
think
mean, you
it's
need people
cool.
like that in your,
Yeah.
in your corner that are going to set you
Yep.
straight.
Yeah. All right, brother. We have each other's number. Text me, call me if you ever need to get defibbed or something. I'll run over.
You got it. All right. Thank you for having me,
you-
guys. I really appreciate it.
You are a blessing in anyone's life that you're involved in. I can totally tell. You're a cool dude. Your kids are fucking so stoked. They have a dad like you. Your wife's stoked. She has a husband like you. You're a wonderful human being. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Appreciate that.
And I'll see you around.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Sevan.
Thanks, Kevin.
Cheers.
Take it easy.
Bam. Hi. Okay. I'm going over the hill to Sunnyvale. Oh,
All right.
I was moving. Normally, my back's a little more warmed up for a show.
Oh, you're moving a little slow now. By the way, I just wanted to
I
shout
jumped
out.
out of bed, dude. Jumped in the shower and fucking got on the show.
Just a full panic. Just want to shout out Jessica here. She was giving us some of her updates on how her fitness journey and stuff is going. And I just want to point out this. Don't, just like what Sevan was saying, don't worry about being the partner. Everybody gets in their head about it. And whenever I'm coaching those classes,
cares.
I always say, guys, remember the main thing. You're here to have fun. You're here to move, and you're here to get sweaty. All that other shit doesn't really matter or exist. The competition, the PRs, all that stuff is great. But when you're coming in for a partner workout, take that time to just slow down, have a good time, enjoy the community, and just be like happy you have your health and you're there just working out. Don't get caught up in all the bullshit. Keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, I never cared who my partner was. Never, ever,
No,
ever. I don't care if it's the
No.
fire breather, the old person. I never cared. I was just stoked. I love partner workouts. I didn't care if we lost.
No, who gives up? There's no fucking lose. You lose if you don't show up to the gym. Every day you show up to the gym, you've already won. Everything else is icing on the cake, and everything else is just ego.
Oh, Caleb's not buying it. He's like, fuck you and your fucking love talk, Souza.
It's very participation trophy-esque, but
and I'm and I'm fucking about it. This is the gym. This isn't some fucking competition. CrossFit's not a sport. It's a methodology for health. Focus on that.
Hey, well, the good thing is this too. When you lose, remember someone else is happy. You participated in making someone else happy.
Yeah, and I know you're gonna go, but one quick story. We had this guy named John D. He was a legend at the gym. I mean, dude was an 800 meter sprinter.
They used to call me John D.
Yeah, the big and he just crushed every workout, but he always just had like terrible technique no matter what you would do. He just would take a 165 snatch straight from the ground overhead, just boom, boom, right? And a bunch of people came in. We had a partner workout. There was some dumbbell snatches in it, and he's standing there just kind of waiting because everybody avoided being John D's partner because he was just it was gonna get intense if you're with John D. And we had a drop in smaller kind of skinny guy was kind of standing there looking around, like waiting to see. And John comes over. He's like, "You got a partner?" The guy's like, "No." He's like, "Me and you." And he walks over and he slides his foot under the 50-pound dumbbell, like a shoe under the dumbbell. And then he just lifts it with his leg to his hand.
That's
and
awesome.
Then walks over to their spot together.
I'm gonna make a video like that today, see if I can even do that.
And his partner just looks at him, and then he looks back at me, and I was like,
"You're good to go."
Have a good time. All right, sorry.
Welcome to the gym, buddy.
Yes, Susan. I know he should be getting ready for a wedding. All right, I'm late. Love you guys.
Peace.
I will talk to you guys later.
Bye bye.